Good evening and welcome to Friday Night Blitz on live stream STL. We are live from Jefferson High School in Festus, Missouri, home to the Jefferson Blue Jays. They will be taking on the Lift for Life Hawks. Ray Halbrook along with Mr. Scotty Lotta and Mr. Brian Kaplinger.
You've got two teams that are very evenly matched. I mean, you talk about Lift for Life coming off a big win last week. Running the ball, that's going to be their bread and butter. They're going to try and run the ball, but you can't sleep on their passing game. They do have quarterbacks that they will rotate in and out. And so if you're Jefferson, I think just picking up from where last week left off, your defense is going to have to steal the show tonight. Don't get behind. If you get behind, this is going to be a difficult game to catch up in. And so just keep your offense on track.
Just try to keep it simple. Don't do things that's outside of our capability. When you're on the road, the most important thing is discipline. Try to keep everything intact.
We're going to see a lot better athletes than I think we saw last week. So we got to be sure we take care of business. And I think if we can do those things, in all three phases, we'll be okay.
Use them, stay in the game, and let's have a good fight.
Here we go, guys.
Onside kick to start. And through the hands of a Blue Jay. There's a scrum at the 42-yard line.
Onside kick.
And it is recovered by the Blue Jays. How about that, Brian?
What a way to start. Lift for Life's got a great defensive line, and so you're going to want to get out away from them.
Oh, we've got a flea flicker. Frisk has a receiver wide open. Schnitzler is going to take it to the house. Wow. Onside's kick and then a 41-yard flea flicker for a touchdown.
Wow is right.
Crater. Roll out by Williams. He's going to float it. Going for Breeze. Breeze pulled it down. Touchdown. There he is.
Blue Jay touchdown.
It's easy, breezy, beautiful night for football, and Nate Breeze with 6 more points. Look at that replay forthcoming right here. It was almost a 50-50 ball.
Right, just beautiful. I mean, it's the right call with Breeze being his height advantage there, being able to out-jump the defenders. Just great placement and just strong hands by Breeze to bring that one in for the touchdown. So maybe they're getting back into their game plan.
Jones hands off to Morgan. Morgan up the middle. He's going to go all the way to the end zone. He would not be denied right there. And that was a 12-yard run for Morgan. Gets them on the board.
Further along in the game.
Jones looked very natural in the rollout there. This time he will cut it back and he will go left side, and once again, he is going to take it. He's got the angle, and he's going to go all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Hawks. Just like that, 35-yard run for Jones.
I mean, just a tremendous game. Scott and I, we were talking, a little bit at half. It's kind of the tale of two quarters. First quarter, you saw Jefferson come out of the gates, a couple trick plays, really get the ball rolling, get momentum. Unfortunately, I think going forward on a 4th and short, really close to the end zone, 4th and goal, not getting it really kind of turned the momentum there. And you saw very, very quickly Lift for Life really take advantage of that. They've been able to hit big chunk plays, and that's really been kind of their staple to get back in this game.
And we'll see what they feature here. And Rigdal's still under center. Gives it to Morgan. Morgan off that right side. Still going. He's got a step. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. And you could just, like a train going down the tracks right there. 47-yard run. Handoff from Rigdal. And Morgan would not be denied.
Lift for Life, they did what they had to do. They didn't start out well. They rallied. They stuck to their game plan. Their defense came to life. And so congrats to them. But both schools need to be proud of the season they've had.
So the final tonight, the Lift for Life Hawks 22, the Jefferson R7 Blue Jays 14.
Good day to everybody, and welcome again to another episode of Upon Further Review. We are going to review this past week's Week 12 matchups, where we'll also crown a Player of the Week, along with some honorable mentions, and then we'll talk about Week 13, some district championships, and some will be district quarterfinals and state quarterfinals, in fact, and we're going to bring in our panel here. We've got Matt Bates in the middle, and we've got Coach Woody with us, filling in for Jeff Whitener here. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing quite well. Good to have Coach along with us today. And, you know, who else better to have filling in some shoes than Coach Woody? Good to see you again, my friend.
Great to see you guys. And Matt, those are big, big shoes I'm filling. I just hope I can do a fourth as good a job as Jeffrey does.
There he goes. I'm surprised he hasn't. I'm surprised he didn't open up with "Hello, kids." Come on now, I need to hear it.
Hello, kids.
There we go. We got it. Awesome.
I started to, but I thought, we'll keep it low.
There we go. Well, without further ado, we're going to roll in here, and we've got some scores that some were upsets, some were surprise games, some were come from behind. So we're going to get things started right away, and we're going to talk about our big 3 games that we covered last week here this past Friday. Live for Life 22, Jefferson 14, Eureka 35, Rockwood Summit 14 on our live stream STL Plus game, and then Jackson 55, Seckman 21 over on live stream STL South. And I guess I got to start with that Live for Life game because I did it. So
and Ray, I like how we've got each of the games represented here with each of us, and that was exactly what I was going to say. Is that you were out at Jefferson. What did you see? Because, this thing was locked at 14-14, and it just seemed like a punch-in-the-mouth game for that first half. And to have only one decisive touchdown in the second half, take us through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a really interesting start for the game. I was actually talking to I got a window on the side right here. I was right up against the window between me and Jeff Whitener. Jeff's over there doing PA. And after the first play of the game, which was an onside kick, Jefferson recovers. We both of our jaws dropped. The next play is a swing pass, flea flicker for a touchdown, and then our jaws just dropped 3 times farther down. Mine was basically on the floor at that point. We had not seen any of that out of Jefferson all year long, But for that particular game to start off like that and just try to set the tone Coach Matt Atlee was trying to do. Kudos. Great game plan to start. Another 4 minutes goes down the road. They're able to score again. They're up 14-0 in the first 5-6 minutes. And I'm thinking, man, they're going to run away with this game. Well, after that first touchdown, and in fact, you know what? It wasn't even between that. After the onside kick, Coach from Live for Life decided to call a timeout and regroup the troops and say, you know what? It's early. They're going to try to shock us here. They did everything they could to, put up as many quick points as they could early. But he's just like, we've got the rest of this game. And they just slowly, took what Jefferson gave them and was able to use what they could, they got to get another couple touchdowns later in the first half. It's 14-14 at halftime, and then all of a sudden, one touchdown in the second half, and it was just grind. Use the amazing talent that Keyshawn Taylor had. Unbelievable amount of running there, and was able to just kind of take over the second half and come out of there with a 22-14 win. Matt?
What was that in the second half? Because, again, when both teams only combined for one touchdown to be scored, was that where it was kind of like where Live for Life was just playing keep away, chewing the clock, taking advantage, or was this just where you had teams playing in between the 30s for a while?
I think there was a situation where, second half adjustments played a lot more important roles for that second half with, Live for Life kind of saying, you know what, we're going to take away that, the long passes and the long runs and things like that. And they were able to do that a lot better the second half. But, they did play a little keep away later in the fourth quarter from time to time. And it was just, methodical at that point. Good coaching on the Live for Life side, and being able to pull that 22-14 win.
Good evening and welcome to Friday Night Blitz on live stream STL. We are live from Rockwood Summit High School, home to the Rockwood Summit Falcons. Our matchup tonight is between the Eureka Wildcats and the Rockwood Summit Falcons. This is Brian Garner here along with producer Drake Beekman. And folks, do we have a dandy for you tonight. Slot formation to the right. Single receiver to the left. Stevens up the middle, off tackle. He will score. Touchdown, Summit. Single receivers to each side. Wing formation to the right. Up the middle. There he goes. 40, 30, 20, 10, house, touchdown Eureka. Trevor Codak. Shotgun formation, he gives to Codak, up the middle, touchdown Eureka. Codak on the carry, 4-yard touchdown. Motion to the right. Screenplay out to the left, nobody there. And there goes Codak down the sideline, cuts it back in. He's going to take it to the house. Touchdown, Eureka. The handoff to Stevens. Touchdown, Rockwood Summit. Elijah Stevens on the carry. You need points, young man. There's a snap high. It's down. The kick is up. Good. So a field goal makes the score 21-17. Eureka. The give to Codak. Up the middle. Touchdown, Eureka. $14-yard touchdown run up the middle by Codak. Wing on the left side over the tackle. Defense is tight to the line of scrimmage. Codak up the middle. Touchdown, Eureka. And the Eureka Wildcats are district champions. And they will move on to the state quarterfinals. What a night for them.
Hey, we're catching up here with Coach Jake Sumner from the Eureka Wildcats. Coach, how you doing, sir?
Wonderful. And yourself?
Wonderful day. And I know you've had a great weekend here. Kind of an upset, I would call it, a little bit. 35-17 over Rockwood Summit. You know, they come rolling in 10-0, and you kind of knocked them off the perch a little bit, but had some great outings from Stevens and Codak. Also, Casey Holbeman, pretty efficient there at quarterback. And so, give us a little bit of a taste of what you saw down on the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about two guys on our offensive side of the ball with Trevor Codak. Had all 5 touchdowns for us on Friday. The young sophomore has just done everything throughout the course of the season to continue to grow and get better. And we talked about having that moment find you and being ready for it. And, it showed on Friday night for him. And, you talked about our quarterback, Casey Holbeman. He's just continued to be on that growth, mindset every week throughout our season. And, just did a great job, controlling our offense, putting us in great positions, and just really proud of the way both of those two guys played. And, you flip to the other side of the ball you talked about Summit's guy and just the way our defense played. I mean, that was an explosive offensive Summit. They've put up a lot of points all year, done some great things. And you got to talk about our back end, Josh Hotop, Alan Brown, Mr. West. Then you have Mr. Bennett, and I'm missing one of them, right? All of our guys in that back end, plus, our box guys, and just what they were able to do and how hard they played. And our defense has been solid all season. And those guys just rose to the occasion and played some great football on Friday, and kept them 17 points. So I'm proud of their performance too.
Yeah. You've had a couple
Oh,
bumps in the road.
Mr. Cruz on
Oh,
defense.
there it
I
is.
knew
There it is.
It came back to me there. There he is. Good.
There he is.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Hey.
you've had some bumps in the road through the regular season, but here you guys have really kind of found your stride here in the playoffs. What do you attribute that to?
I just attribute that to our kids and their, the leaders on our team of just keeping on point. And, although we've taken a few off the chin this year, we've got a strong core of kids. And, throughout this off season, these guys have built a strong foundation, and, the relationships they've built and the work they've put in, they just kept believing. And, even though we've been tested and we've had some bad moments, that it's really that leadership shine through here, and the way that they've picked up and continue to move us each week. And, it's showing in our play. And, we've had some, great things. And we're getting down the stretch here. We're going to lean on those same guys, and those our seniors we lean on, and just some other young guys. You talked about Trevor, and a couple of our young guys have really stepped up, and that's what you need. So.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. You've got Cape Central coming in here for the quarterfinals. What do you know about Cape Central, and how are you going to keep those guys at bay?
Yeah, good football team. They had a great win Friday. I think second time district champs for these guys in 2 years, and very well coached football team. They got a couple of explosive players on offense that'll be a piece of the game plan, and a couple great defensive guys that'll we'll have to have a game plan for. But just this time of the year, it's all about playing good, clean football and showing up and being ready to give it, and with our boys excited to dig into the preparation and get them ready to roll.
There you have it, sir. Well, we appreciate the time catching up with you. Good luck this week coming, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you again next week.
Awesome. Sounds great, Ray. Appreciate you.
That's Jake Sumner from the Eureka Wildcats. It is now time for our Upon Further Review Player of the Week, and we have none other than Trevor Codak from the Eureka Wildcats. How you doing there, Trevor?
Doing great. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. Big 35-17 win. Impressive win for you guys over Summit. Summit came in there. They were 10-0, and you kind of knocked them off their perch a little bit there, and you had a pretty decent game there Friday night. You only had 5 touchdowns, but we'll set aside that for a second. But your team played really well. You had some great work out of Casey Holbman, kind of manning the helm and helping you guys navigate you guys through that win. But take us through the game and give us your thoughts on the game Friday night.
When we first came out, they had that first scoring touchdown, and we just stayed on our path, stayed straight, kept coming at them hard, and eventually they broke. I mean, our defense held them to the least amount of points they've scored all season. So, I mean, a lot of it was the defense holding them, and our offense just kept on pushing.
Awesome. Now, do you attribute? It seems to me like the last handful of games here for Eureka, you've really kind of found some momentum and a lot of confidence along the way, along with that as well. I mean, right now you guys are 8-4. You had a couple of bumps, middle of the season, but looks like things are starting to turn around. What's it been like that? What's the clubhouse been like so far on this roll?
Those few bumps are gone. It's in the past. We got our mind set on one thing right now, and it's gone 0-0. We're just gonna keep going, keep pushing, keep playing.
There you go. I know Coach Sumner is going to have you guys ready to go here Saturday. So, final question, we'll let you go here. You've got Cape Central this week. What do you know about Cape Central, and what do you guys want to accomplish to pull out that win?
We know a lot. I mean, they got some strong players, some pretty physical players, young players, and just do what we did last week. Come out hard, just be silent assassins, and play as hard as we can.
There you go, sir. Well, we appreciate the time, and congrats on being Player of the Week, and good luck to you Saturday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's Trevor Codak from the Eureka Wildcats. Let's talk a little bit about the next game here. And I'm going to double check and make sure I got these scores right. Let's kick it over there to Coach Woody. Eureka 35, Rockwood Summit 14, And I will tell you what, I was extremely surprised there, Coach, that there was number one, an upset, but how they did it there, Coach. Take it away.
Well, I talked with Drake during the pre-production meeting that he and I had, and we just knew either it's going to be a good game or Eureka's going to get their doors blown off. Well, to our surprise, Eureka controlled that game, and they ended up winning that 35-14. The offense for Eureka got started, and they reminded me on Friday so much of the Mizzou offense that they run, in that the offensive line did a lot of zone blocking, duo blocking. And what I mean by duo blocking is a guard or a tackle will take on and try to hook the outside man. He'll scrape off and go get the linebacker as the hole opens up a little bit and the running back comes through. They did that all night, and Codak, the running back, went crazy. They scored on 2 big plays and had 4 plays of over 50 yards. Well, that gave a little fire in the bellies of the Eureka defense, and they just kept punching Summit right in the mouth, and Summit would have something happen on offense, and then Eureka would take it away. But it was a total domination by the Eureka offense and defense. Summit had a couple big plays, but they just couldn't get anything going and controlled it from start to finish. But it was a pretty good ball game, maybe not truly indicative of the score. It seemed a little closer until they got into the second half, and that Eureka team just kept pounding. And because those guys are next door neighbors, and I believe they're in the same conference, it got real chippy. And one guy from Rockwood Summit got his second personal foul. Well, when you get 2, you're ejected from the game. So it got a little chippy from about the middle or early fourth quarter on. And I thought, if these officials don't get a hand on that, it's going to get out of hand. But they had a great hand in it, got their hands all over it, and controlled the situation. But, boy, what a good ball game that was.
Yeah, you got a good
Coach, talk about a Codak moment, right? I mean, 5 touchdowns for the young man. Talk to me real quick about Casey Holbelman, though. He had a kind of a modest day passing. He was only 8 for 13. But 200 yards, though, 1 TD, and that one was that 69-yard pass to Codak. But of his 8 passes, went to 6 different receivers. So it looked like, I mean, was that just methodical pinpoint?
That's exactly what it was. And the Summit defense, pass defense, they played a lot of zone. And in zone defense, there are open spots in the zone, and he would hit these different receivers in open spots of the zone. They weren't big plays, but they were methodical. Then they just kept pounding it with Codak, and about the time that the defense would back up just slightly, expecting pass, they'd run a screen or a draw or an off-tackle play to Codak, and he was like Cody Schrader of Mizzou. He'd pound his way through. He'd get to the second level before you know it, they're in scoring position again. So Holbom, I did a lot of pre-game homework just to get to know these quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs. And I thought, Holbelman could be a force here. Well, he wasn't necessarily a force like what I thought Gibson was going to be from Summit. Well, Gibson just got shut down for the most part, and Holbelman stood out.
Because that Stevens kid, that Elijah Stevens kid from Summit, I kind of had him highlighted last week, Coach, as somebody that could be a game changer, given where he was at in the area with rushing, given where he was at with scoring. And when I saw that their quarterback was only 17 of 34, I say that at 50%, but Summit chucked the ball 34 times. That's something you don't see a whole lot down in the Jefferson County conferences. But of those 17 completions, only 124 yards, Coach. So was that just a bunch of short dump offs, like flare passes, wide receiver screens, or because at 17 completions, I was expecting to see maybe a little more productivity on it just from a numbers standpoint.
You're right. There was a lot of short passes. There was a lot of passes to Stevens out of the backfield. But getting back to your statement about Stevens, I really yellow highlighted him on my game sheet thinking, oh, this guy's going to be fun to watch. I got to look for him early. He did nothing. In fact, there was a lot of times Tyreek Williams came in and replaced him. And as I got a little further into the game, I deduced and figured out that Stevens was cramping the whole night. Because there was one time in the third quarter, I looked and Williams was back on the field. And then Stevens came back out and there was a play to the left. If you're looking at the TV screen, there was a play down toward the left side of the field. Stevens was on the ground and they were trying to stretch him out. And so he had cramp trouble all night long. And as big a player as he is, in the scheme of things, he was not a big force for Summit like I thought he was going to be. Now, I don't know what year he is in school, but that is a lesson learned for all athletes. It doesn't matter the air temperature outside. You have got to prepare yourself for competitions, whether it's hot or cold, in the cramping issue. And apparently he didn't, because he suffered all night long with cramps. And it got the best of him. I'll bet you $5 he missed 50% of the game action because he wasn't on the field. It was so manifested, I thought he had a catastrophic injury. But it wasn't. He had cramp.
Well, there you go.
Good evening and welcome to Friday Night Blitz on live stream STL South. We are live from Seckman High School, home to the Seckman Jaguars, and tonight it is round 3, district final game of the Michigan State playoffs, as Class 6 District 1 features the number 2 seed Jackson Indians at 9-1 and the undefeated number 1 seed Seckman Jaguars at 10-0. Gavin All's ball down here in front of us. Inside handoff to Hampton. He goes up the gut. Breaks to the outside. 20, 10, 5. Give him 6 with 11:38 left to go. 22 seconds into the contest. Inside handoff, and they're just going to sneak right into the end zone. That goes Jalen Hampton, his second touchdown of the night. In motion, that's 86 David Wilburn. They're going to look to air it out. Got one breaking down. They caught him, and that is Blaine Harris for a touchdown of 56 yards. In motion comes Harris, makes that trips on the near side of the field. Screen pass out in the flat to Hampton. He's to the 20, 10, give him to the 5, give him 6 again. Fakes the handoff, does Parsons, goes out in the flat once again to Crow. Crow, 35-40, 45-50, he's going to break it. 45-35, 30, 25-20, 15, 10, 5 to the house, give him 6. A 76-yard TD pass. So that is Crump now in the backfield. He'll get a call once again and into the end zone, give him 6. Crump with a 5-yard TD run. And on live stream STL Plus, Class 5 District 2 has Eureka at Rockwood Summit. Here's a long pass by Parsons. Hits his man in stride. That's Harris once again. Give him 6. 51-yard TD pass. As I say, halftime can be one of those things that can make you, can break you. Here's a pass, was cut short. Halfback, there's a flag on the play, but it's going to go to the end zone on a halfback option touchdown pass. Seckman gets on the board. Nolan Bartles now in at quarterback. So Bartles going to hand off. That goes to Brock Reagan. Reagan, he's going to scamper into the touchdown. 20-yard touchdown. Matt Bates here with you from Seckman High School. Gabar's going to call his own number. Comes near side to the 10, to the 5, to the end zone. Give him 6. With 8:19 left to go. Fowler in at quarterback. He's going to call his own number, and he's going to go into the end zone. Give him 6. 4-yard run. And there's a shotgun snap, a kneel down, and that is how this one is going to come to an end. The final 13 seconds will tick off, and the Jackson Indians will win this with a final score of 55-21.
Well, let's move over here to our next game here. Hey, the big Matt game here. Jackson 55, Seckman 21 over on live stream STL South. Just going to kick it right over to you, Matt.
Well, to kind of piggyback off Coach had talked about with the Eureka game, Jackson had 4 plays, count them, 4 plays of 45, well, not plays, 40, it was TDs, 4 TDs of 45 yards or more.
Wow.
Just in the first half, because that's all that their starters played was the first half, because they racked up a 48-0 lead at the break. Their sophomore quarterback was making his first varsity start as Adrian Fox was out with a fractured ankle. Now, this was a young man for Jackson who had been their PAT holder for the longest time, but kind of like what Coach and I do before the games when we're just kind of watching, monitoring. When we had done that Jackson Festus game, their quarterback, name escapes me right now. But he was off to the side, and he was just airmailing these passes at about 50, 60 yards in warm-ups. And I was like, this is their backup quarterback. This isn't even Adrian Fox. And this kid is making this look relatively easy. And to kind of give Coach a comparison, when you see Milton from Tennessee throwing the ball, how it just looks effortlessly for like a 45, 60-yard pass, that was what he was doing all night, Coach. And after we had just done that Oakville-Seckman game, if I could just tell you that just forget what you saw in that game from Seckman, offensively and defensively, and just picture someone now just coming into your house, taking what they want, and you're like, hey, put that down. Nope, I'm going to take this with me. Put that down. No, I'm going to take this with me. They leave. They take all your toys, and you're left with like, what the hell just happened? Okay, so in the first half alone, they had 400 yards of offense going into the half.
Man.
Again, forget everything that you know, because Jackson in the first quarter with the 28 points, that was more points than Seckman had yards in that quarter. Seckman only had 20 yards in the first quarter. 7 times that the Jackson Indians had the ball in that first half, they scored every possession. 46-yard run by Hampton, 56-yard TD pass. Crow caught a 76-yard TD pass, and Harris had a 51-yard TD pass. Parsons was the kid's name. Now, they come out in the second half. Now they've got their third-string quarterback in. Opening drive, because they only had the ball 3 times in the second half. First time they get the ball in the second half, they go down the field, they score. So what Coach Nesbitt then did in the fourth quarter is he put in his fourth string quarterback, because that's how deep they were getting into their roster. And this was okay. So yeah, the Seckman 21 points, that was because they put them up in the third and fourth quarter against basically Jackson's B and C team that was out there. They just got torched. I mean, all the adjectives you want to use: torched, lit up, face. This was just a true clinic put on by Jackson, that they gave Seckman everything that they could handle and then some. It was like somebody came in, took their playbook, and just had an answer for everything. And I have not seen that at all. That I think they probably I think Seckman punted as many times as Jackson had touchdowns.
Wow.
You know, I kept dying wait to get updates on scores, specifically Seckman, because they've played, they were undefeated and they looked great all year. And then Ray sends some scores over, and it's like, are you kidding me? It was 48-0 at half. And I thought, is this a typo? But I don't think it would be.
Right.
No, Coach. I mean, every time Jackson touched the ball, it was just yards were just getting torched up and down that field. That to where I say that game we just did last week, where we were talking about the continuity of their offensive line,
right.
the abilities, the zone reads on their defense, people in position. Again, if you would have told me that Coach Bear was going to put out a completely different team for this game, I would have said, you know what? Looking back on tape, I would agree. Because that was not Tommy Gabar wearing 13. That wasn't Dean Meckel wearing 40. That was not Hannemeyer wearing 16. I'm telling you right now, Coach, that was just a complete bombshell that Jackson dropped on these guys. And again, that Parsons kid airing the ball out. I mean, in that first half alone, he was 11 of 15 for 306 yards, 4 TDs, no INTs. And that's a sophomore, Coach, at Class 6. Oh, and by the way, their running back, that Hampton kid, he was only 12 rushes, 106 yards, 3 TDs in the first half, and he's a freshman.
Wow.
So Seckman faced some very good football teams all year. It's not like they played Little Sisters of the Poor or Mercy Hospital. They played good football teams and dominated them all year long. Was Jackson just that at a different level?
Coach,
had to be.
Seckman had only given up about 60 points all season, and Jackson damn near put all that up in one whole game against them.
Unbelievable.
I mean, a team that was, again, I mean, we had talked about that going into the game last week, that, they were going almost like 3 consecutive games pitching a shutout on that defense, and 22 seconds into the game, there's a 46-yard TD pass, a 46-yard TD run by this Hampton kid. Second play of the game, boom, 22 seconds. Like the coffee was still hot, the seats were still cold. People had not even gotten settled in yet, and all of a sudden there's 7 points put up. They kick the ball off. Seckman goes 3 and out. They punt the ball to Jackson. They turn around, and they just methodically go down the field. Another 3 and out for Seckman, and then all of a sudden a 56-yard TD pass. You're out of the first quarter. Seckman's had the ball 3 times, they punt. Jackson's had the ball 4 times, they scored. And you're like, I'm going into the second quarter here, and it's possible that Jackson could get a rolling clock on the Seckman Jaguars, and that's exactly what they did. First possession of the second quarter, they made it 35-0. I looked at Eli over there, and I said, you are seeing the same thing, right? And he's just sitting there shaking his head. He was like, this was the same team we saw last week. And he was like, no.
Right.
Unbelievable.
To their credit, not taking anything away from Jackson, historically, they've had good athletics down there. They got some corn-fed athletes down there. So to their credit, new coach, old coach, doesn't matter. To show you what kind of talent they've had over the years, the starting center for Mizzou is Connor Tollison, who's played at Jackson.
There you go. How about that?
So there you go. So to their credit, they've got athletes down there. I was just a little surprised that the distance that Seckman has come, that they got hammered like that. And then on the way home from Summit, Ray had texted me 55-14. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. I was thinking during the second half of my game, is Jackson going to put up 80 points, 70 points? You would think they wouldn't, because they would, if that coach had any sense, which he did, he put his other string kids in, which everybody wants to play. God forbid you should have an injury, but at least other people are going to get reps. But 55-21, unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on. Let's quickly recap the bottom three scores here. Crystal City 8, Tipton 6. Interesting. That's a typical Crystal game there. Hillsboro coming from behind, 29-28 over Festus. And then St. Vincent 42, Van Far 6. I'm going to start with Coach Woody because I don't think he's going to have a whole lot to say about these scores. But let's go ahead and start with Coach Woody.
I heard that Festus controlled that middle ball game for most of the time and let Hillsboro come back at the end and put one on them. You know, that's got to be disheartening. I've been on the both sides of that, where teams I've been on, specifically in baseball, were down a bunch, came back to win and move on in the playoffs. And then other times you let people slip away. But, you know, I'm not surprised by the 8-6 score, because it's like hockey. You get in the playoffs, you take your chance. You just never know what's going to happen. And then for St. Vincent's to dominate like they did, 42-6, again, I'm not surprised with that score either, because a lot of times you get into playoffs, you don't know what happened with certain teams, and you're more than likely to get an 8-6 score, 42-6 score, and a 29-28 score. So I'm not really surprised by any of the results of those three games.
There you go.
I completely agree with you, Coach. Looking at that Crystal City game, I mean, Raftree did what he does, 30 carries, 120 yards, kind of. He's the straw that stirs the drink. He kind of flies under the radar because Bolton had 6 carries, 47 yards. He scored the only TD for Crystal City. But again, this is a team that ran the ball 48 times for 233 yards. Ice went 0 for 3 passing. That would have been Ice and Bice. But the defense had 45 tackles. So when you look at the 51 plays that Crystal City had and the 45 that Tipton had, I mean, it was that's why you have an 8-6 ball game. I mean, everything was pretty much even up and down. But Raftree, again, I say if you can stop him, that's the straw that stirs the drink for Crystal City, because he allows Bolton to have so much more room and freedom. I mean, he's essentially just a ball carrier, unlike Billy Hart from your Seckman, who's just a straight fullback with no rushing stats, anything like that. But basically, if you took Billy Hart and put him in a Crystal City Hornet uniform, that would remind you of what Caden Raftree is like.
Yeah. You know, they say at all levels, defense wins championships. So, hey, there you go.
The Hillsboro Festus game, I mean, this was I think, the first true test where Hillsboro really had their metal tested all season, and the punch to the mouth that, when Festus was up by about 14 points, 28-14. That's just Coach Saharsky figuring out, we don't want to play, overtime, none of this. So to go for 2 and be able to put the 15 points up to get that 1-point win, great job by him, and great job by the St. Vincent Indians to take care of business against Banfar.
It's now time to take a look at our honorable mentions for this week, and they are as follows. Over at Lift for Life Academy, Keyshawn Taylor, 200-plus yards rushing, just absolutely wore down second half of the that game against Jefferson R7. Jackson, their offense, 600-plus yards total offense, and a 55-21 win over Seckman. And then Hillsboro's Chase Saharsky, 2 receptions, 73 yards. That ain't, that was so-so. But hey, he had the game-saving interception in the 29-28 win over Festus to seal that game. And some crazy games, some wild games, some methodical games here. Matt, what's your thought on some of these honorable mentions?
Well, I like the beauty of what we do on this show. That, I mean, I know that you can look up and down that Hillsboro lineup and you can pretty much highlight the PB sandwich, Peyton and Preston Brown, every week to kind of like just copy, paste them in somewhere, either a player of the week, an honorable mention. But I think for us, and not just because he's the coach's kid or anything like that, but even though something that looks like a modest day on paper at what Chase Saharsky did, there are just some times that you have to look at what a young man does during the course of a game, and even like that game-winning or game-saving interception at the end of the game, the 2 big catches, it's not going to jump off the screen at you, but the job that Chase Saharsky has done, and basically all year, him and Cohen Linder, I mean, they've all kind of like flown under that PB sandwich radar. So glad to, get Chase Saharsky some airtime. The Jackson offense, I think I kind of had covered enough of that essentially, I mean, that game was 48-0 because that was where, when the half stopped, that's when the game essentially stopped. Jackson just imposed their will, and I had not seen anything like that. Were they capable of it? Yes, but I thought I would have seen that maybe in that last week against Festus.
Right.
And honestly, that Jackson Festus game, I think I would have taken that one, cut that one, inserted it into what we saw last week, and moved that Seckman game maybe to the last week of the season, because that Festus game was way more competitive than what this game was. And so I would purely expect Jackson to be crowning a 6A state championship here in about 2 games.
We'll see. They got CBC this week, so that should be a fun one there to start. But I'll jump over here and I'll tell you, Chase Saharsky, you talk about just kind of being that unsung hero. He is the unsung hero over there at Hillsboro, does a lot of the little things right. And that, to me, is what I've seen all season long for Chase Saharsky. Is like, you get the Browns, you get all of those, the big names and things like that. But then here he is right underneath there, kind of being that support piece for Hillsboro. So, kudos to Chase on being able to secure that win for Hillsboro in that come from behind win over Festus. Jackson is Jackson, man. I mean, you've got, until somebody can knock them off the perch, it's Jackson right now, in this particular area, south of St. Louis and southeast of St. Louis. So, they will continue to be a juggernaut throughout, probably the next at least 2 or 3 seasons. They're always constantly, cranking out just talent. And, so kudos to them. Live for Life, Keyshawn Taylor. Like I said, we didn't see a whole lot of greatness out of him first half. Second half, he just did what he had to do methodically to get the job done and secure that 22-14 win over Jefferson. And they walk into the quarterfinals here with Valley Catholic. So kudos to him. Hey, Ray Halbrook here with Upon Further Review. We have a special going on right now. It's a special giveaway that we're going to do right now. If you can like, share, and follow Livestream STL right now, and then post in the comments on Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook, post in the comments your favorite appetizer from Texas Roadhouse, and we're going to give you not 1, not 2, but 3 free appetizer coupons, and we'll mail those to you. So do that right now.
Ruther Ford is the place to shop for your next vehicle. We have a huge selection of new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, and they're all priced to sell. Not in the market for a new car? We have a great service staff that can keep your car in top shape. Also, be sure to check out our parts department for your next car project. Once again, we're Ruther Ford off I-55, the Herculean Auto Mall.
Ruther.com.
The Breeze Dental Care Team consists of dedicated individuals who are caring, kind, and friendly. Our staff is here to ensure a pleasant experience during your visit to our office. Our team includes experienced and energetic people whose goal it is to communicate well with our patients and provide the best care possible. Providing preventative, restorative, and cosmetic care. Schedule a visit by calling 636-937-3030 or find us on the web at breezedentalcare.com.
The House Bar and Grill at your Festus Pasta House is your place to watch all local high school sports live. That's right, I said live. Come in and enjoy all local high school sports brought to you live on our 5 big screen TVs from Livestream STL. Also enjoy our happy hour menu, which includes half-price pizzas, discounted appetizers, and drink specials. We are the best place to gather for your local high school sports brought to you by Livestream STL at your Festus Pasta House on Highway A, where it's always a great time.
Hey, y'all, it's Jeff from Case and Bucks. Thanks for watching the games today. We appreciate all your business all year long. Don't forget, we've got awesome wings, we got amazing burgers, we got salads like you wouldn't believe. Come check us out. We have barbecue on Thursdays, we have Southern Nights on Wednesdays, we've got bingo on Tuesdays. We can't wait to see you all. Thanks a bunch, and we look forward to having a great summer with y'all.
It's time to take a look at our Week 13 schedule. Some of these schedules here look like this, and we'll get rid of us here real quick. Some of these are district championships. Most of them are quarterfinals. So we'll start here with the Class 1 District 2 championship. Crystal City takes the big trip to Vincent. And then the Class 2 state quarterfinals. The next 3 games, we will all have all these on Livestream STL for Misha TV. The Class 2 state quarterfinals, Valley Catholic taking on Live for Life. That'll be Saturday at 1 o'clock, pregame at 12:45. The Class 4 state quarterfinals, Hillsboro's at Pacific on Livestream STL. That's Friday night at 6:45 pregame. And then the Class 5 state quarterfinals, Cape Central takes on Eureka. We'll have the Livestream STL South group over at Eureka. That again will be Saturday at 1 o'clock. Will be at 12:45 pregame. And let's just pick off a couple of these games here. We'll start with Coach Woody here on any of the games you want to talk about there, Coach.
Oh man, that last game with Eureka, that on paper, and we all know you can't do this stuff on paper, but that Class 5 Central and Eureka, that should be a barn burner. Hillsboro Pacific, that's another dandy coming down the line. Val Catholic and Live for Life, woo. And then Crystal City St. Vincent, with what we've seen previously, these are 4 great matchups. But there again, I thought Summit was going to dominate Eureka, and that didn't happen. So you just never know. Again, do like you do in hockey. Get in, take your chances. If I had to pick somebody, I think I would pick maybe St. Vincent, just because of all the numbers they put up. Val Catholic, I know a little more about them than Live for Life, but you can't count out Live for Life on anything. Hillsboro, they might have just gained enough fire and passion in that come from behind to sustain for Pacific. Cape Central Eureka, in my book, that's a toss-up. Who knows what might happen?
Matt.
I agree with you up and down the line, Coach. And I think, Hillsboro kind of just taking one to the chin last week against Festus, like finally getting a little punch to the kisser that might have been a little bit of a wake-up call that, you just let the boys know, hey, you're not going to be able to tap dance your way to a state championship, because you're going to have some adversity along the way. And if this is the thing that might have opened them up a little bit, okay, so be it. I think that's going to be a real tough test against Pacific. That Eureka Central game, I like that on paper. That's going to be a real nice game. And then that quarterfinal or semifinal game there between Crystal City and St. Vincent. You know what? Again, if St. Vincent can control Raftree, again, then you can go into shutdown mode against the Hornets. But again, this is a team that up and down the line, they're going to run the ball 40, 45 times a game at you, and they're just going to impose their will.
Yeah. My take on these here, I'm going to go like this, and I want to get your reactions when I see this. Vincent's going to win that Class 1 District 2 championship game pretty easily, I think. Valley Catholic, I think, will handle Live for Life pretty easily as well. They are a juggernaut, always have been. They've just had a small little maybe snafu the last year or two, but they were playing Class 3, Class 4 state championships a year or two ago. So for Valley Catholic to be here in the State 2 quarterfinals, I was kind of shaking my head. I'm like, why are you down there? Class 4, I think Hillsboro. If you look at it on paper, records wise, Hillsboro being 11-1 or 12-1. Pacific, I think they're only a couple 3 games above 500 here. So Pacific, if I remember right, last week, the way that they got in, they were going to probably lose on a late field goal or extra point, and it was either blocked or missed, and that's what sealed the deal for Pacific to be in there. Otherwise, you'd be seeing Hillsboro playing at Sullivan. But I got heavy feeling on Hillsboro. Cape Central, Eureka, you guys do the toss-up, but I'm telling you what, I think Eureka's going to pull this one out. I really think Eureka's going to end up in the semifinals here, and the reason being is because of the amount of momentum that they have been building the last 3-4 games here. After kind of getting, I think they went 2-2 for a 4-game stretch there. They didn't like that, and kind of talking to Jake Sumner a little bit, they're finally seeing good strides here, and keeping some guys healthy too. That's been the big key for them, is getting some healthy guys back. So I think Eureka pulls that one out.
Well, and getting a Codak to catch lightning in a bottle here like these last 5 games, I think it's been a bit of a spark plug. What do you say, Coach?
I can't imagine with the way they handled Summit. I can't believe that he won't be a force to be reckoned with this coming week. I don't buy it. He's going to be 2 handfuls.
There you go. Well, that's all we have for this particular episode of Upon Further Review. Don't forget our games. We showed those games up here. They'll all be on Misha TV, so you have to go to misha.tv, and then you just need to search for the particular games, and you'll be able to find those up. And make sure you choose the live stream STL games, because there are some schools that will have theirs out there that'll just be a huddle feed. So, you definitely want a little bit of action and some entertainment. You come to the right place with live stream STL here. So, for all of us here at Upon Further Review, here Matt Bates, Coach Woody Garner, myself, Ray Halbrook. Thanks so much for watching Upon Further Review. We will see you down the road.